I could too.
That would have been nice, you know. I guess Shane did a great job with it. So.
What are you guys talking about?
Do you know the full
Iphigenia in Orem?
Iphigenia
in Orem.
Do you know the entire show, Carrie Ann?
The three.
Yeah.
No, teachers told me about it. I don't think I can have any of them.
You'd be awesome in the second one, the Mormon Chapel in New York.
Where the teacher picks someone up and gets a book and read.
On the same page. We have open.
It's tough, but it's good.
So these are the questions I can use. Everyone's doing great, man. Perfect.
Why is there? Why did we have Medea?
So you don't have to race that.
Right, Narcissus. So we can suffer through pain.
I think we should save this for the show.
And I'll be operating.
That's why you have song when you go to the break.
You want to do it?
Somebody else does.
Sounds good. The intro.
That's why it's
I
so
want to
intense.
do because I want to. Because I kind of built in a fade so I can speak over it, and then Kurt calling there about. So I like to keep it high. Yeah, just I like to keep it up for that. Okay, so that's we're at 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes, guys.
I only like to take pictures with somebody, not by myself.
Oh, really? You know what? And that was actually a horrible. Would you look? Because you're halfway talking.
Okay, sorry. Do it again. That's not just like that. Yes.
Can we talk to you about the mic?
Welcome to the family, bro.
How it's a microphone, you speak into it.
Are we here?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, do you have any? Okay.
Trailer park, just talk trailer park. Kind of Evil Dead's coming in. I thought we would just kind of jambalaya it. I love jambalaya.
I do too.
It's some of the best stuff that I've heard. It's just
Good luck to your grandmother.
I love
love it.
Yes, but it's cute.
And you'll have your own
Let me know what's going on for next time, man. Be good. I'll talk to you. All right.
So I made the award for the Operation Chicken Night, and I call it the award.
Okay, that's hard.
We work actually on our site, man. It's free band. We're going to have it live probably in about really good.
We're out there, man.
You ready, Eric? You ready, Eric?
I'm ready.
Okay. Alright, you know what to do. You're a fat quick study.
Which one's mine?
You're that one. Okay. You try Ian first, then I'll let you do your thing. One second.
I believe it's recording.
Visit AM1400 on the internet, www.ksat.com. AM1400, KSAT.
We're going to head over to a rusty trailer park, and then we're going to speak to some dead people. Yeah, we're classy like that. It's Kurt and Paul and Aaron Paul. That's right. Well, it's been a week, but it seems like it's been a month.
Since we've been on the air?
I know. It's like
Seems like longer to me.
actually we've been on the air for more than a month now. So that's actually kind of, we should have a cake in here or something. We should celebrate. I think. I mean, anytime we can eat things that are
we
bad
could have
for us
that
is good.
1 week that was repetitive.
Yeah, we had to kind of replay the first.
Our best of.
It was good for us.
It's hard to choose.
It's hard when you have somebody who's not able to be here and the other people are on stage.
Yeah, the problem is that we're all performers and we all direct and we all do our own thing. We all kind of are all over this city as well, and so every now and then we got to kind of take a hiatus. But that's the other reason why I think it's going to be great that the three of us are doing this, because then one needs to step in if one needs to whatever. We can probably shuffle it around.
And that being said, we should welcome Carrie Ann back from her episode of illness.
You were sorely missed.
Oh, I can't wait to be there.
It was.
I don't know if we could have fit another body in here last week with
I know.
the improv.
We had an amazing all improv show with the Happy Hour Improv Troupe and the Improv Vegas group that performed set over there at
the Onyx Theater.
At the Onyx Theater.
Commercial Theater.
They were great, and ending the show with Fancy Bottom Lady just about made me wet myself. And I hope they're listening so that they can listen.
Fancy bottom.
I don't do Paul's characters any justice, and I shouldn't even attempt.
He's rolling over in his grave.
He's coming up with another character as we speak.
Well, we are lucky, however. We have Las Vegas Little Theaters in the house again, and we and we are welcoming the Great American Trailer Park Musical, and we have director Troy Hurd.
Hello.
And we have Kelly Ward here, who's a member of the cast. She plays, is it Jenny?
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Jeannie Garstecki.
Excellent. Welcome, guys. I'm so thrilled that you guys can be here.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
And swing that puppy around when you that way we can get right up and close in person. Okay, so this is the last year. LVLT did one of my favorite musicals of all time, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and they only do one musical a year, and it's in the summertime. This year they chose Great American Trailer Park, the musical, which I would argue is not as well known a musical. It only hit off Broadway, correct?
It did.
And tell us a little something about it, Troy, because I'm just as interested as I'm sure some of our listeners are, both of them.
I'm surprised on the other end that as many people know about it as they do. It's a cult hit. It had a big run. It came from the New York Musical Theater Festival.
Oh, wow.
Ran off Broadway with Orfeh, who's in Legally Blonde, which I think you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
It's written by Betsy Kelso and David Nels. And David Nels was a songwriter. He had just a library of songs he'd written. And Betsy Kelso came to him with this idea to put them all together in a show, and she wrote a little wraparound and wrote a soap opera story about a stripper who moves into a trailer park and the havoc she wreaks.
The American dream. Isn't that how all great Broadway musicals come, or it doesn't have to be a Broadway musical nowadays. I mean, it can hit off Broadway or it can hit a regional theater and make its rounds. And
there's been that trend. Spring Awakening. Not Spring Awakening. I'm at a loss, but Elton John's done that. He kind of did that with Billy Elliot.
A lot of people are doing.
There's somebody with a weird name, and I'm gonna get schooled on it later on. But
I was talking about my friend Evan Walker, who's in a production of Hairspray and Aladdin, Disney's Aladdin in Tuacahn in Utah right now. We were talking about how it's interesting how productions in general kind of have a tendency not necessarily to go to a regional theater and then make their mark, maybe do another regional theater in a different city, make their mark, and then head to Broadway. Sometimes they go weird routes as far as testing what is going to be approachable by what the owners of the musical want it to be approachable by. Like, for instance, Little Mermaid had spent very little time in regional theater before going to Broadway. Didn't do so hot on Broadway. I mean, God love it. But now it kind of made its rounds and only went to Tuacahn and Cedar City, and it went to Seattle, I think, or something. Only 2 places, and they really, really messed with it. They kind of changed the storyline and stuff so that they could see if it's ready for the amateur, thing. They're doing just the opposite now with Disney's Aladdin, and they're kind of messing with it, tweaking it, and making it all wonderful.
Using the tour to.
Kinda, and
make it a bit sharper.
Yeah, and like John Tartaglia is one of my, I think he's awesome. He's playing the genie in the Broadway one that was just announced, and so it's like they're really building it up marketing-wise. I think it's a marketing strategy, if you ask me. But all these, it's like weird how things come to fruition. And I would argue Great American Trailer Park is one of those lesser-known musicals that once people get a taste of it, they're going to talk to their friends, and their friends are going to wish they had gone and seen it. Because it's really it's one of those shows that on the Sirius radio when I'm listening to the Broadway station, a number from it will come on and I'll be like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. oh my gosh, that's clever. You know, and I'll look, and it's from the show. It's just a great show. I mean, what drew you to the project? I mean, why was this like, oh, I got to direct this?
Oh well, it's my background.
Yeah.
People. Yeah, I used to spend my spring breaks down in the area where the show's set. It's the Panhandle of Florida. I'm a Georgia native, and Walter Neadlick, the artistic director, and I were talking. And he said, "Do you want to do a musical next year?" I said, "Sure, just toss me something splashy." And he said, "Well, I'm thinking about the Great American Trailer Park musical. So what? Do you read my biography or something?" It's like, "Sure, I'll do it."
Well, now, and Kelly, what drew you to the project? I mean, was it...
Well, a couple of things. The challenge of the character, because I've always played the ingenue, and then I wanted to step out and do something more challenging, and I also wanted to work with Troy. Troy had directed my daughter before, and I just loved how he works with, you know, his cast, so I was excited to work with you.
I work well with kids, so I can handle it.
You can handle me.
Well,
but yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
So tell us a little bit about the story. What's the show about?
It's about 90 minutes long.
Excellent. Where's my bell? I need my bell.
Well,
there we go.
It's set in a hot, sultry summer in Stark, Florida. You're guided through the show by 3 trailer trash matrons who live there. There's the manager of the trailer park, then ex-hard rocking groupie, and then the eternally pregnant sidekick.
They're like the Greek chorus.
Absolutely.
Sounds like the high school I went to.
It's great. It's like, you know, in Little Shop of Horrors, you have the Ronettes at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And Trailer Park has the 3...
Greek chorus there.
Yeah, and it's great, especially if you're familiar with some of the music, because they really drive the show.
And we should mention who they play.
Absolutely. Betty, the manager of the trailer park, is played by Jennifer King.
Jen King.
Kim Glover plays Lynn, short for linoleum. She was the ex-groupie. And Vicki Best is Pickles.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're perpetually pregnant when you...
Yeah.
Pickles.
And they tell the story of Jeannie and Norbert Garstecki, who've been childhood sweethearts. They got married right out of high school, had a kid who immediately got kidnapped by a mysterious stranger and has been gone for 20 years.
Raising Arizona, I'm sorry.
She hasn't stepped foot out of the trailer since then. She's become agoraphobic. And as their 20th wedding anniversary is closely arriving, Norbert gets frustrated and, well, at the same time, Pippi, a stripper on the run from Oklahoma City, shows up in the trailer park, and you fill in the blanks.
Right.
And
Stripper on the... Did you have to do like some special pole dancing lessons?
no, but there is pole dancing. Well, the lessons, yeah.
You're so happy about that.
Yes.
Not for you
And you haven't
specifically,
seen
Troy, but for...
Yeah,
but
no,
for,
Troy has demonstrated on the pole.
Caitlin Shea.
Years of experience.
Caitlin Shea is playing the role
Caitlin
of
Shea is
Pippi.
playing Pippi, and
Love to have been there for that callback. Just like...
Erin Marie Sullivan's the choreographer, and she has a lot of pole experience. She teaches classes in the city.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
she's doing a killer job with it.
Well, cool. And this, if you're just now tuning in, we're speaking with Troy Hurd and Kelly Ward from Las Vegas Little Theaters, The Great American Trailer Park, the musical. The music by David Nels, book and lyrics by Betty Kelso. And it's coming up. It's July 13th through the 29th. LVLT.org. That's the website you need to hit up if you want to get some tickets online before you go to the door. I never recommend going to the door and getting tickets. Get it online. It's the age of technology. And get those tickets ahead of time. We're currently in a production out at Super Summer Theater, Crazy for You.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the pre-sold tickets are selling out, and that's, you know,
and especially out there, you don't want to drive the 20 miles to get out there and realize you don't have a ticket and they're sold out. And you gotta, oh yeah,
right.
And that's what happened the other night.
Yeah.
And again, you're running for 3 weeks from the 13th through the 29th. So you've got opening Friday the 13th, fantastic.
Is that the fan I hear in the background?
Yeah, probably.
I didn't even know that.
You have Thursday through Sunday.
You guys mind if we
shows.
turn that off? I mean, it's going to be really loud in here. See, that's so much better.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. I can hear you guys.
Yeah, I wonder if we can
I'm glad you're here.
Hi.
Hi.
You know what? Let's sweat it out. I'm ready.
I dressed for this.
Sorry, say that last bit again. I talked over you. What were you saying?
I was saying I wasn't wearing pants.
Excellent.
About 8 p.m. shows, the 13th and 14th, the Friday and Saturday, and 2 p.m. matinees, which is great for some individuals who happen to do theater and can't always get to shows because they're performing at the same time. So.
Yeah, you need to go out and see this one. I recommend going and seeing anything over at LVLT. They got a great they got a great system. They got a great group of people working over there. They all have a similar mindset of trying to get just good people together and put on good theater. And I think that this is, not unlike what their mission is in general. So this is a great show. Okay, now, as far as the Great American Trailer Park musical is concerned, I love hearing all about the journey from casting to opening night. What has the rehearsal been like? Is there any juicy things that have happened that was crazy? Something, I love stories. I love I love juicy stories. Stuff that's happened.
I'm boring. I'm pretty.
Yeah, it's.
Well,
I think it's. I work on a very simple.
Excellent radio.
I'm sorry.
You know something that's going fine.
Let's make something up.
What do you do for fun?
Well, I busted open a box of Cheez-Its the other day. It was fantastic.
Well, Kelly, I'll ask you the question because I happen to know you on a personal level. But you recently were in a role in Hairspray that you had to kind of step out of your normal character for.
Oh yeah.
And this is another role for you, which is great. Breaking, like you said, out of that ingenue role. So what have you been doing to prepare for Jeannie Garstecki? Because I'm pretty sure you've gotten outside over the last 20 years. And so what have you done to prep character-wise?
Well, I kind of feel her pain because I am a mother. And think about it, she lost her son. Her son was kidnapped. And I think that's the worst thing that could happen to a parent is to lose your child. And I can understand why she is agoraphobic. She doesn't want to step outside the world because the worst thing in the world happened to her. And a quick shout out to Melanie, Nicholas, and Olivia, since I'm talking about children. But
they're watching something else.
No, they told me I had to shout out.
At least like us on Facebook, kids.
Well, I think only one of them's old enough to have a Facebook account.
Anyway, but so I think I understand her as a mother. But as far as the trailer trash, I'm from Chicago.
Hey, holla. Chicago here as well. Oak Park, holla.
So I think that Troy's trying to get me to be a little bit more trashy.
Not just you, baby. That's every director has a challenge. Putting the show together has been very easy. It's very systematic. It was 2 weeks of music, 2 weeks of staging, and we're starting into 2 weeks of just polished runs before we go into tech. But getting this lovely and extraordinarily talented cast to not be afraid of being ugly.
Oh wow!
And being raunchy is just
It sounds like high school theater again. It's like breaking kids down to say, listen, it's okay to be something you're not for crying out loud.
Well, that's a wonderful thing because I've had the opportunity to obviously listen to the music, but read the script as well. And it's one of those fun shows that every character is that character that's the juicy character. There isn't a single role in this, and it's only seven actors and actresses, to where everyone has that nice juicy character. There's no stereotypical. Well, they're all stereotypical white trash, but in the sense of in a lot of shows you get the protagonist and the antagonist, and in this they're just all fun, meaty characters, and so that's gotta be. I don't know. I know a lot of the actors in the show, but sometimes you'll cast people who fit those roles because it's less of a challenge to keep them in that pace.
But I think in your case, it's going to be fun to see that juxtaposition.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to kind of see, maybe before your performance, go out for a nice meal at the Dairy Queen.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
I get some inside tips from Kelly. But what are some things as a director that you may be doing to get your cast ugly? Because you don't have a physically ugly cast.
No, this is a great
beautiful cast. Yeah.
Well, that's being aided in wigs and costumes. We have a killer costumer. His name's Jerry Allen, who he did a lot of Hollywood films and TV movies back in the 80s. He's coming in and stocking them up in animal print and polyester.
Yes.
Huge wigs. We've got a killer set designed by David Sanker. He's just plopped an entire trailer park on this matchbox-sized stage.
Yeah, that's another thing we should mention, too. I don't mean to interrupt, but LVLT, if you've never been to see one of their shows, it's a rather intimate theatrical environment.
I like that.
And this is the main stage.
That's what I love
This is
about
not the black box.
LVLT.
Yeah, it is, but even so, the main stage is not a huge proscenium theater with scores of seats. it is a rather intimate environment. So if you're used to going out to like see Super Summer Theater, or you've seen other shows in town, or if you're used to going out and dropping half your wage on a ticket on the strip there, you know, reserve that a little bit and do yourself a favor and go out and check this out, because I argue that the more intimate theatrical environments usually are the ones that are more lasting.
Yes.
They connect a little bit easier because it's visceral.
You're
It's right there.
You're right there. Yeah.
It's right there. You know.
No bad seats.
No, there's not a bad seat in the house. And actually, I know this is totally off the subject, but I saw Glenn and Assassins a while back at the Onyx, and I had seen a professional production of the Assassins at a huge theater in Hollywood, and didn't enjoy it. And I just got lost.
Wait, you didn't enjoy my performance?
No, I did. And then when I saw it at the Onyx, there was something about the intimacy that made me feel like I was actually part of what was going on stage.
Yes. I've experienced that too.
Yeah, and that's what I love about LVLT. You know, because you get that intimacy.
I agree,
and you've been on the LVLT stage before.
Yes, okay. I was in I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change a couple seasons ago.
And I have not, but Carrie Ann and I have both been on the Onyx stage a couple of times. So
yes.
It's interesting. Those intimate settings.
Yes.
Now, Troy, do you prefer directing smaller casts, or or plays versus musicals? I mean, this is not dissimilar to casts of shows that you've directed before. It's an intimate cast.
Well, I hop all over the place. I mean, I think a lot of people are surprised. Dave McKee, who's the critic of City Life, told me, you're getting pigeonholed as this dark, intense director, where my background's actually in musical comedy. I've done big, splashy rock shows. You know, that's where I came from. Your
next upcoming venture is not dark and
no.
I mean, I suppose it could be.
Yeah, that's a big splatter zone.
We're gonna have you talk about that.
We'll talk about it coming up.
Cool.
Well, we probably better take a break here for a second. If you're just now tuning in, we're talking with Las Vegas Little Theater's Troy Hurd and Kelly Ward. They're here talking about Great American Trailer Park.
And we are live at Armadillo Acres.
We are.
We're on remote.
We'll be right back.
Later, he's sneaking out the door.
Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to the world of evolved.
I can hear Jen King's voice in there.
And that's not them.
Well, no, but like I can hear it.
Sorry.
I would switch her voice.
Let's play this off like they're gonna see this now.
Yep.
I can't sneak
secrets.
anything. There are no secrets.
Oh no, I forget that.
Crap. But I forgot about the body painting or something.
Oh, alright.
And then pull it out and you're like, ah, dang it. I don't know.
I'm so mad right now with this huge smile.
We were taking the audio and putting the audio up, but you have to convert the audio to a video to put it up on YouTube. And so I thought,
Let's do one more and then we'll
focus of editing. Might as well edit the
You're
video.
coming back with
That way
the generic.
they can see the commercials. Last week, obviously,
Yeah.
with the improvisers in here, the commercials were funnier than this show. So,
we'll do one more 60 seconds. But
Okay.
And you're not on camera, sorry.
You can come in every now and then. Like bring us a water.
Come in with a cue card.
Here's your one.
That'd be great. You should.
That intimate, you're part of the show feeling happened to me during Hedwig and the Angry Inch like 10 years ago when it was up
What's
in the
this one?
lakes.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
some
like, it was like
sports guy.
Sun Fuzz,
I mean, that's
like,
probably your last
intimate,
resort, you know.
And when he
Yeah.
was
It's
doing
kind
the
of
final number, and he was
bad.
like, put up your hands.
You were like,
Chills.
Lift up your hands. Yeah, I lifted up my hands and he touched my fingers. And it was like, Jesus touched my fingers.
I swear there's something in that music. There's something in that score and that song
Hedwig
that
is
does it.
great.
Every time I've seen it,
Oh, I did.
it's the notes, it's
I
the
didn't shave that
progression.
day, but I lived it all the way up.
You saw it with Jen, right? No? Did you see it with Amanda?
No, because Jen wasn't in.
was this the
How many seconds?
what was
Amanda
it
did well.
called? Deanna Dupolchain was directing over there. The little theater in the lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just forget the name of
Who is
the.
this guy? The Sweet Tomatoes guy.
Oh,
He cracks
it's
me up.
Marty. It's the guy that's supposed to come show right
By the
before you
restaurant.
Oh,
guys.
he's funny. His voice is funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, like all up in the like in a little business center. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one man show up there
Jenny Warren's
with Michael Hartnett.
She was like Dan's assistant. Like,
Yeah, the blonde. She was in your show. She did like the choreography for us.
She's intense.
Yeah.
Bow! And we're back with LVLT's The Great American Trailer Park Musical, and Troy Hurd and Kelly Ward, and with me as always is Glenn Heath, Carrie Ann Parks.
Hello.
Intern Cassie is behind the glass and out of camera's view, but she's over there making faces at us.
Oh, that's right. We are videotaping, so for those in the listening audience, if you didn't quite get enough today or want to see what's going on during the commercials.
The offbeat shenanigans, as it were. Yeah, it's like we're sitting here.
Exactly. Yeah, you can actually see who's wearing pants.
Yeah. Which reminds me, you know something, you need to go over to Facebook too and like our Facebook page. It's Curtain Call with Eric Ball, and just kind of type it in the search bar. Like it. If you would, please. We'll keep you up to date as to who's coming on the show and what we're doing, and all the information that's happening in the Valley with local community theater. Go out and see a show. Support your local artists.
It's an interesting segue from me talking about not wearing pants.
No, I think it's important to understand that art forms come in all different shapes and sizes and pants.
You know, thinking about that, being pantsless.
Yeah.
On that note,
We were talking about this during the breaks secretively.
Oh, that's right. Do you want to let the secret out?
No, I don't.
Well, we had a bet a couple of weeks ago, right before the Tony Awards, and of course Carrie Ann was not here last week, ditching out of her obligation.
And the reason why you sat on the outside so she can't escape.
That's right.
you're blocking the door.
Not very well, but yes, I'm blocking the door. But Carrie Ann,
why don't you remind Carrie Ann what the,
expertly lost the Tony.
how many did you get right? One?
One.
One.
I got one right.
And there was way more than two.
Oh, there was like we had like 20. And
yeah, and your
I tallied Cassie at like 12, 14
Yeah.
correct.
Cassie got 14.
Yeah, she got the most. Then Eric's dog.
Then my dog. I think they're still on the website too.
Yeah,
If you want to
Zipper
go.
got 4. I
Huh?
remember that. Zipper got 4 correct.
Oh no, Zipper got more than that.
No, Zipper got 7. Eric and I each got 4.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Something like
we
that.
didn't do much better than you, but
All we care about is that we didn't come in dead last. And so technically, we have to obligate ourselves to kind of fulfill the requirements of the losing position.
I
And
lost fair and square.
and I don't know about you, but I don't know if you're up for it, but we if you recall, it was some sort of body painting that we have to do.
Yes. Yes.
which is very white trash.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be
in
appropriate.
this setting,
Yeah.
no, it,
Called in this week.
where Carrie Ann has done it before. And
Maybe we should make them do the body painting, because they are, after all,
Go,
you know,
Kelly.
like
Woo!
they're painting their double
I brought
wide.
in the
Let's do
paint.
it.
I brought in the paint here, and I have a paper plate.
Except for what's that for? to
Fine
cover?
china.
Oh, it's not for the pasties.
No, this is perfect for trailer
These
trash.
Crayola.
No, those
No.
are. It's like
Oh, no, this
craft
is
paint.
empty.
It'll come off. It'll come off.
This isn't.
So.
That's all I get to cover with.
No. What?
Cover less.
Wait,
Okay.
she's not gonna be naked, is she?
Well,
No.
You can
Okay.
say naked on
no, we're gonna
Okay, I didn't know if that was a bad word.
Naked's never.
No,
a bad
the
word.
parts that are naked you can't say.
Oh.
So what? I guess we need to. Maybe we should paint like Trailer Park the musical on it or something.
We could put a phone number on there
There we go, and then show it to the camera
for tickets.
Oh, the tickets, yes.
for a good time. Oh.
So we may have to set that up during the next break. And,
Yes.
So we'll paint Carrie Ann.
I'm not upset about this, you guys. I'm really not. Like, I did try. I read the whole thing. You know, I read each option, but I just selected poorly.
I just thank Jesus that I didn't lose, because I could see Glenn intricately painting smiley faces on my nipples or something.
I'm
realizing the hair that's there.
between you and I, we could have put the whole script on our bodies.
That would have been long lasting. Anyways, if you're just now joining us, we're talking with the Great American Trailer Park cast member Kelly Ward and director Troy Hurd from Las Vegas Little Theater.
Hi.
So very glad you're here with us. July 13th through the 29th is when the musical is being performed over at the Las Vegas Little Theater. Head up, jump down. Over to the website, lvlt.org. Get your tickets. Now, we were talking a little bit about getting into character and kind of preparing ourselves for a trailer park setting. Later on in the radio show, we have Evil Dead coming on, and I'm not sure how I'm going to ask this question to them. You know, how do you prepare to be dead? But more so, what have been some of the challenges? I mean, I'm not just talking character-wise. I'm talking like in preparation for this musical, because I know coming out of a musical that I'm in right now, tap dancing, I'm not a tapper. You know, and I know that there have been some ensemble members that have really, really challenged themselves and really kind of broadened their proverbial horizons to try to get into these tap shoes so that they can do this. Every show has different challenges, emotionally, creatively, artistically, politically. You know, what is this? What is this kind of challenged you?
There's a couple of challenges for me. Number one being the accent, which Troy helps a lot because whenever he gets to rehearsal, he talks. You find your southern accent, like it totally comes back, so that helps. Erin, the choreographer, has me doing. Now I'm not a dancer. I am 38 years old, and she has me doing a flip and a cartwheel, and my body just doesn't want to move that way anymore. But I'm learning how to do that, and by the time I promise I'll have it down by the time you see it. What else is challenging?
Well, vocally,
it's a very
the harmonies are
score,
tight. It's hard for the trio. Has it really tough?
And again, you only have 7 people, so are you? I mean, there's no real opportunity for sweeteners.
Nope.
No.
And now you have canned music, I suppose. So.
No, live band.
Okay. See,
wow.
So
Yeah.
there's something even more
It's
awesome.
gonna be a
What do you
rock-
think about?
rock show.
You know something, as a director, we haven't really cracked the shell on this Ostrich, but let's because this is something.
you and I are doing a show coming up later this summer, which also
has a live band.
Yeah.
And I have kind of sorted views about the topic, about using a live band versus using tracks. Creatively, what are your thoughts on that, Troy?
Depends on the show. Depends on the situation. I mean, the show you're in right now is canned, but it's beautiful. But where are you going to fit a pit orchestra for all those strings for you?
Right.
But Joseph coming up's a rock show. I mean, there's no
rock
way.
band. Yeah.
And that was my fight with Trailer Park. It wasn't a fight, but my negotiating point
Sure.
was I need a live band for the country music. You know,
What-
it just loses something, especially in a space that small.
Well, and you know something, in a space that small, it's going to be a very different musical now that you're not using tracks too. you know?
Absolutely.
I would argue, yeah, and that's the big hairy argument about tracks versus live musicians is that it gets real personal real quick because then it's about the musician being an artist and the musician being a part of it, and when you eliminate that, then all of a sudden it's like,
The music.
I've got to ask real quick, how big of a band and where do you put them?
It's a 4-piece, and they're going in the mobile home upstate.
Yeah.
They're integrated into the show. They're actually the live band for the strip club, and you'll see them a couple of times. Arliss Estes is on guitar. Asia Wilson's on bass. Toby McAvoy is our keyboardist and music director, and he's bringing in the percussionist. But the focus on this show is definitely the music. The show started with the music, started with the songs, and putting them in. It's like how Rocky Horror was written. Richard O'Brien had this songbook of songs he wrote a little script around it, and that's kind of how Trailer Park is.
And the show there's not as much dialogue as you would find in a musical. I mean, Joseph has 0 dialogue. And this has very small amount of dialogue.
It's like 90% musical numbers, 10% book.
Oh, wow.
Which is great.
That's great. If you're just now tuning in, head over to LVLT while you're listening to the radio, lvlt.org, and you can check out what we're talking about. It's the Great American Trailer Park, the musical, directed by Troy Hurd over at Las Vegas Little Theater. We have Kelly Ward, a member of the cast, with us. Jeannie, I Dream of Jeannie, and it's running July 13th through the 29th this summer. And it's LVLT's only summer musical offering, so get out there and support local theater. Now, as far as, it says here, the New York Post quote, it says, adultery, strippers, murderous ex-boyfriends, Costco, and the Ice Capades. Undeniably fun. Well, there's Vegas for you. Well, no, it's just some of it anyway. I'm coming from the Midwest, too. It's just like, I'm sure people from all over.
But
this being such a
for the most part, I mean, there's not going to be age restrictions on this show, is there?
Well,
there's some adult. There's some adult.
recommend.
Well, your 6-year-old is not going to come.
Right.
But
she's
my
gonna
my 15-year-old daughter is going to be coming to it. So.
Well, it's definitely PG-13 at least. There's a strip number of the show, and she doesn't go full Monty, but close enough. And raunchy language, raunchy situations. So
well, and it's like one of those things where I think there's lots of avenues for all different types of theater. It's about discretion and using your best judgment as far as you being the theater patron. What your taste is, and here's the thing: if you like good comedy, if you like good musicals, and you have kind of a wider scope for stuff, this is a perfect musical for you.
absolutely. And it's never. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty liberal, so I say it's never really offensive.
No.
Right.
And
No.
it's never mean spirited.
Well, and I would argue that the
Not at
book's
all.
goal is not, to be offensive for offense.
There are a few off-color remarks.
Yeah.
Well,
but I don't think it's to the extent of.
Well, if you
It's-
watch an
yeah.
evening of reality television, you've seen it.
Yeah.
you've seen it all.
Okay.
so.
I really appreciate that we're getting this heads up about it because when I went to the Fringe Festival, I just was going to see every show, and that's the bottom line. But if I had known what I was getting into beforehand, I think as an audience member, I could have prepared better. Because there was one show in particular that's really dark, really horrific for me personally and my background. So that very powerful script affected me in a way that I was not ready for, and I'm
Oh, wow.
still recovering from that.
Wow.
Well, we should talk about this because
like
you
to.
were here last week.
I wanted to talk about it last week because it
and
was
you
still
were
so
sick.
fresh.
But Carrie Ann went to the Las Vegas Little Theater Fringe Festival, and she was actually a judge, and she was invited to be a judge, which I was thrilled.
So grateful.
Oh,
it was an
that's-
amazing experience overall.
What would now? And you, we talked before we even started doing the show about how you're one of the goals is to maybe get a voice out into the community about how we can better inform, so
Yeah.
that we can kind of keep everybody on the same page as to what's going up, so that if you do have kind of cautionary side to your persona and you want to stray more towards the family friendly entertainment rather than the alternative. There are ways that you can inform yourself. It's I would
Yeah.
argue half the problem with Las
Go
Vegas
ahead of
theater's
time.
marketing. We need to get the
Yeah.
voice out there. So tell us a little bit about and this is directly related to what they're doing because this is Las Vegas Little Theater.
Yeah, Las Vegas Little Theater. The show that really impacted me was Iphigenia and Aurum. And because of my background, religiously, and I'm a nanny. I love little ones. I work with children. The play basically took this horrible turn, and the baby did not live happily ever after.
Oh no!
At all. And so it was disturbing, and after the show I turned and one of my friends was in the audience as well, and she just said, "Oh, you look like you need a hug." I said, "I do!" And it was the one Fringe show that I saw without someone with me. I had nobody accompany me to this one performance. And I went out in my car and I sat there and just started to cry.
Oh,
It
man.
was it impacted me so powerfully, and then I called my brother. He wasn't available. I called so many different people to just talk me through it.
Did she call you?
She didn't call
You
me.
could have
call
called.
me.
You could
guys.
have
They
called
do.
me.
Yeah, you live right around the corner
Yeah,
from
you
me.
could have come over.
I actually thought about coming over just so I could hug Melanie.
Oh, you
I needed
could
to
have.
hug a
She would
child.
have
No,
loved it.
you can hug me.
I always find that
It was
hugging a
so
child.
hard.
This is to come across as well.
No, but can I say something? Can I say something though? As far as what she's talking about is concerned, it was a show. Now here's the thing. I'm not
I
gonna.
understand.
Did you like the show though?
You know what? It got second place in my judging scoring.
That says something because
and it's still with her. And,
Oh,
and that,
I don't know if it'll ever leave.
And that's something very few shows can have that type of impact. And this is just one part of Troy. There's what, 4 parts?
Three.
3 parts.
3 parts. I have that
So
up.
can you
After the
say
show.
it as a piece of theater art? It worked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely,
Good job.
yes. And it's a one-man show, and Shane Cullum was the amazing performer in it. He friend requested me on Facebook. We don't know each other.
Goose pimples.
Seriously, yes. And I just, I had to give it a minute, and then I emailed him and let him know, we don't know each other, but your
Yeah.
performance affected me in such a way, and it was horrible. And I have hugged several babies over the baby that you murdered. And I even said, you murdered, knowing it's fiction. I get it, but I
Yeah.
did ask,
But
when we
there's
see each other, please hug me, because I'm not going to approach you.
But human nature, kind of, I don't know. It's like when you're driving down the highway and there's an accident on the side of the road, it's a horrific accident, all these police lights and all these things. You're driving down. Even if everybody else is speeding ahead, there's something inside of you that makes you slow down and just take a look.
Morbid curiosity.
There's a curiosity, there's something there when you watch a CSI episode that you're not particularly fond of, but there's something about it that makes you glued to the set until the very end, and at the very end you're like, huh, and then you just walk away, maybe never seeing it again, maybe never going to CSI land again, maybe whatever. There's something about it that our human nature has to tap into in order to move on.
Yep.
Yes, and that's what Troy was saying, that There's something.
It's the
for
human
everyone.
experience. It's. I mean, if you look at the title, it's Iphigenia Norum. Let's go back to Greek tragedy.
Yeah.
I mean, why did we have Medea? Why do we have Oedipus? Why do we have a man sleep with his mother and pluck out his eyes at his deed? We watch the worst of human nature on stage to experience catharsis, to face those horrible things, in hopes we won't have to experience them in our lives.
Yeah.
It's when we say escape reality, okay, it's not just escaping bad. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of escaping mundane, escaping every day, escaping what we're comfortable with, what we're used to.
You still want to have that connection too. I don't want.
That's why it's live theater, and that's why it works.
Which is, and I think that's why I don't like reality television, because you could almost say the same thing, Troy, with the human experience. But I don't relate to anything on reality television, and I say reality television with the air quotes around it because I do know that the storylines are scripted to some extent. But I never go to theater simply for the sake of seeing a performance. I want to be engaged. I want to feel something out of it, which is something as an actor that I want to give back to. And whether or not that's always successful on my end, I don't know. But
like Eric was saying, it's moved. You get moved, but either moved to laughter or moved to tears. As long as you get moved to something. I mean, the worst criticism you can ever get is, "Oh, I liked it."
Right.
They say, "I loved it. I laughed. I had the best time of my life." Or, "Oh my, your experience, Carrie."
It's kind of like a baseball game. Okay, if you go to a baseball game and your home team just rails on the opponent and just 13-0, just oh my god. I mean, you're just like but okay, yeah.
It wasn't really a challenge.
But then,
it wasn't really a,
but then if they are getting slaughtered, you're just there with them every step of the way going, no way, you can't believe, you're there. But if it's middle ground, that's usually when it's tied and it's going into the ninth, you're just like, oh man, you are on pins and needles. And it's like it's right there. You're part of a team.
And that's why you always see it in the movies where there's that last, and you see it in every sport movie, that last swing of the bat that hits the home run, that wins the game, and everyone's happy at the end.
It's true though, and that's kind of why I like theater. Stuff like this that maybe it didn't win a Tony Award, but for crying out loud, it's good theater, and it's good. It really puts a spotlight on some. An intimate cast, an individual. I always tell casts that I direct or students that I teach, I say the most important thing to remember when you're approaching trying to tap into the characterization that your role demands, okay? The number one thing to remember is that you are going to be telling a story to somebody, okay? Even if you have a small little role, you're telling a story. And it may be just this character's story in this moment, if you're patron number 7 in a bar scene. I mean, for crying out loud, there's somebody in that audience that's watching your every movement.
Yes.
And you're telling a story. And you need to make sure that every second that you are 100% engaged.
Yes.
You can't be the ensemble member that's in the outfield picking marigolds and picking the heads off and stuff. You need to be 100% engaged.
Yeah, because you are the one who's keeping the audience in
something
that bar.
shiny.
It's true. Say that. What'd you say?
Because as that ensemble member, you may be the person who's keeping that audience member in the bar engaged.
Right.
Keeping the bar alive.
Right. And Great American Trailer Park Musical is going to have a lot of opportunities for that because it is an intimate cast. And we do have characters that are going, and they're colorful characters at that. They're not just...
They're over-the-top colorful characters.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a musical comedy. It's funny.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get a little deeper than just the surface. It's not hee-haw. Because it's based on country music. And the first thing I told them, first music rehearsal is, I don't want it pretty, I want it emotional. Look at Hank Williams, look at Patsy Cline. They're all singing about you're cheating hard, and I've lost my love. And that's what it's a love triangle. Yeah. Everyone has this song where they're looking for someone to repair their heart.
Oh, wow.
They're nailing it.
And that's where you're going to get that emotional connection, because unfortunately in this world a lot of people fall into the situation, not necessarily having their child kidnapped, but being tempted, and that's certainly a big through line on this with Norbert Verstecke, and knowing how the show ends up, you got to go see it.
Yeah. So I recommend you hit up the website. We're going to take a commercial break. We're here with the Great American Trailer Park Musical. We have the director, Troy Hurd, and cast member Kelly Ward. We'll be right back.
It's your song.
Is it? Yeah.
Wow, we got deep there for a second.
Now
we're going to
So
get
do we
naked
get to
and
paint
do
you
body
now?
paint.
Let's paint you now. Sorry, I'm
Yay, let's
excited
get it
to
set up.
paint.
Let's get it set up.
Do you help setting it up?
Oh, sure.
Probably.
Come on in.
Where are we going to do this?
I think we should do it right here so we can like lay down so we can watch you on your back or something on your belly or something. I think so. I think it'd be
Will this
fine.
hold me?
I'm gonna run back there and like start a new CD.
Sounds good.
Recording. So
Sounds
just
good. I'm gonna just keep going.
keep going until I come back. Okay.
For real though?
I want to know what that air smell.
I just saw that.
I know. Let's bust that open.
Right?
Oh, with
Is that a remote-controlled flying shark?
Yeah.
It's probably.
Like a balloon?
Yeah.
It's a balloon.
But you can fly it
Awesome.
around.
I have a dead cat that's got like hover things on his palms. Did you see that?
No.
This guy in Germany, his cat died, so he made it into a hovercraft. Stuffed it.
I saw that.
Placed hover things on its paws.
We just did a public service announcement. I'll do a commercial for Deja Vu. That's how I roll.
Do you want me to sit in a chair or do you really want me to be like laying down?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you could like put the chair backwards and lean on the chair like that. And you can do it on your back.
On
or
my back?
something.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what would be comfortable and view-worthy.
I'm gonna get painted.
Well, right here would be the best angle for you to not have to do anything with the camera,
Okay.
other than just zoom in.
So, yeah.
So right here.
And then Kelly, you're gonna paint.
Yeah, I'll paint.
right.
Someone gonna help me.
Am I going to be off for now?
We could pick you up here.
Yeah, okay.
We could bring Cassie and she put her in the headset. Why not?
Yeah, be me. Oh, we'll talk about
Yeah.
crying.
Just get overly emotional and sappy.
I don't know the number. Are we gonna advertise for Trailer Park on your back? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, it's going to be the
You could look at that.
Great American Car.
Yeah, create a mayor tray card through. And then, where's the number?
Here, I'm gonna.
3 full bars for your favorite alcohol beverages. Maybe drink it.
I'll look it up here.
You totally strike me as one of those girls in high school who did all like the poster boards for, you know, come to the homecoming.
I was very shy.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest
I
that
would,
you sit
I've
here.
always been.
That way I can mess with the camera and get everything set up.
Yeah, sure.
I was a choir girl in orchestra.
So much confidence in your painting ability now.